as we get started, want to welcome you and thanks for joining us. We're going to be talking about unified messaging and what we believe are some essential features for remote working. And so before Terry gets us going with the presentation, I'll just let you know that we are recording this, and we will also make the slides available to you. So you can look for a follow-up email from us within a day or two, and we will also have time for Q&A. So you're welcome to type your questions in at any time if you'd like to put a question through, and we'll have Terry answer that toward the end. So Terry, it looks good if you want to go ahead and get started.
Perfect. Thanks, Ann. So we're here today to talk about unified messaging, the necessity for the mobile workers, right? So in this day and age that we're working from home more often, workforce optimization and all of the tools that come with it to enable mobile workers is a high priority for most customers nowadays. So that's going to be the topic that we're discussing today. But first, we'd like to mention, a couple things about us. Back on March 9th, 2020, OpenText acquired XMedius. And so this was, it was a good move for us in the market. OpenText itself has a lot of great workforce optimization product suites. But one thing that it didn't quite have was, some of the services and features that XMedius provided. So, the merging of these two companies offered us the ability to just expand the software suite that we have available in the market. When we begin to talk about OpenText, so, OpenText is the information company, and we focus primarily on, enterprise information management. And we at OpenText operate, as the leader in EIM. We help companies manage information to improve productivity, competitiveness, and customer experience. Our objective is to help our customers go through a successful digital transformation, managing the information flow end to end. That is from customer engagement to business insights. And so you can see here, we have a large footprint across the world, whether it's, 2.9 billion in revenue or, number one in the IM space. OpenText is just really the leader in the information company. So as we begin to talk about the XM Connect platform, we have a lot of different components. So whether that's voicemail, unified messaging, mobility, personal assistant, etc., we offer all of these on one platform. So all of the blue boxes that you see, minus the on-premise and cloud, all of these are featured on one platform. And what does that mean? That means that, with a single installation of the XM Connect suite, we can offer all of these features on that one platform. And then in addition to that, our interoperability in the marketplace is really unmatched or unparalleled, right? We integrate with almost every PBX on the market. We have over 400 different PBX integrations, and out of which, we've never dropped an integration. So all of the integrations that we have from the beginning, we've maintained all the way through the product suite. And so whether it's, like I said, the PBX, whether it's your email environments, whether it's Skype for Business, in the cloud, on-premise, that's really the power of the platform and our story. So as we move forward, the topic of this is obviously unified messaging and helping the necessity of the workforce. So let's begin to talk a little bit about unified messaging. So unified messaging on the XM Connect platform is basically supports multiple email servers. It doesn't matter whether it's, Google, Lotus Notes, Exchange, etc. We can have many different unified messaging options configured for one platform. So if you have some users using Google and some users using Exchange, we can support those seamlessly. Each user can be programmed individually for the type of email server that they use. And then in addition to that, we offer a lot of features like click to call, voicemail to text, text to speech, etc. So that's really our unified messaging story. And as we go into, the deeper into the area of unified messaging, we offer best of breed solutions. There's, a lot of other products on the market. They will do something similar to what we do with unified messaging, but they do it a little bit differently. Some products, create like a local copy of the email messages and pull those down from the web and store them locally. But with our integration to unified messaging, we access the messages stored in your email platform using live services like Exchange Web Services, for instance. So we're not actually pulling those email messages down and saving a cached copy. We're integrating with that Exchange environment. We're reading what is stored inside that subscriber's mailbox, and then we're providing the information relevant to it. We have a couple different models available for unified messaging. One of the models available is server-side unified messaging, and this can be on-premise or in the cloud. And essentially what it is the single store of all messages on the email server. And as I said, it supports the premise and cloud-based. So whether that's, a premise Exchange server or a cloud Exchange server, either or, when you have this unified messaging option, we're going to be able to integrate with that. So again, on-premise, we're using AWS Graph API, and then in the cloud, we're doing the same. So now let's begin to talk a little bit about features for the remote worker. So remote working message notification. When you're sitting at your desk and, you have a voicemail come into your email, it's really common to have MWI integrations. So you have that phone on your desk, the light comes on, it's what most people are used to. But in the time of working from home, a lot of people don't have these desk phones anymore. So we have alternatives to that so that you can still get notified of those messages. And some of those are whether it's text, whether it's email, or we can even provide an outcall service. So in the event that you have a message, the system can be programmed in such a way that we deliver, an outbound call to a specified number to notify you that you have that message. So these services are kind of taking place of MWI, in the era of everybody working from home, and those are some of the features of the platform. Another nice tool that we have for those working at home is what we call Web Phone Manager. And Web Phone Manager offers you the ability to manage your mailbox. I know the slide here says availability, but in addition to availability, it does a lot more. Web Phone Manager, one of the great things is that it actually can be used as a self-service password reset. So when the system is programmed and a subscriber's mailbox is set up, we include their email address. And once an email address has been configured within the system, when a subscriber goes to access Web Phone Manager, they'll be presented with the link to reset their password if needed. And all we do is we take the email information that's stored in that subscriber mailbox, and then we'll send a password reset link to that email address. Then once you receive that link, you follow the steps, reset your password, and you're good to go. So in addition to obviously all the other features, availability, the ability to mark your states, whether you're at your desk or away, or even the ability to change the numbers that are programmed for your devices, obviously we also have that self-service password reset. So Web Phone Manager is a very robust tool that we have and that we offer with the product. Forgive me here, some of the troubles from working home. I happen to live next to a train track, and it appears that a train is coming by, of course. So if you lose me for just a second, that's the reason why. But moving on, so let's talk a little bit about secure voicemail. So obviously, there's a lot of companies that have their email messages and they're stored in Exchange, and we have that connectivity and we've talked about that, but here comes that train. For a lot of customers, storing email messages, we'll pause for 1 second. Oh, right, that should be the worst of it. So yeah, as we're talking about secure voicemail, a lot of customers have, compliance regulations where they can't store voicemail messages in Exchange or in external stores and stuff like that. And so we offer secure voicemail. With secure voicemail, it is end-to-end security. So whether when the voicemail is actually left and stored on the system, it's encrypted. When we transport it from one application to the next, it's also encrypted. And then, of course, at our endpoints for mobile clients and web clients and et cetera, we also provide an encryption there. And so essentially the way it works is when the voicemail message is left, it's stored on the system server. The system server uses Microsoft EFS, which is the encrypted file system, to encrypt those voice messages in rest. Then, of course, when it's in transport, we have very many different transport mediums for encryption, TLS, SRTP, etc. And so when we're transporting that message, we're also securing it using those secure transports. And then finally, in the endpoints, when we have that information available in the endpoints, whether it's the mobile, the web clients, we have HTTPS security, etc., that is available to protect, your information and provide that end-to-end security. So that's some of the power of secure voicemail. That end-to-end encryption, that end-to-end security. And then, of course, it's something that we can't really gauge with email integrations only because of the fact that once it leaves our system, we can't be responsible for what happens on the Exchange server, et cetera. So that's why we call this version of storing voicemail messages secure voicemail. Moving on, so remote working and voice transcription. So the XM Connect platform itself does offer voicemail transcription. We actually use an external or a third-party transcription service, and that transcription service is voice-based. So when you leave a voicemail message on the XM Connect platform, that voicemail message is stored. We then send a copy of that to VoiceBase for the transcription. VoiceBase responds with the transcribed message, and then we provide that transcribed message with that voicemail to the subscriber itself. And so that's kind of behind the scenes how that works, but we do partner with VoiceBase, and we do offer voicemail transcription as has become standard in the industry. Mobile client. So we do offer a mobile client in addition to the web phone manager, and it has a lot of nifty features for workforce optimization. Some of those features are Find Me, Follow Me, mobile number protection, view and manage voice fax messages, and separates personal and business communications. So when you have the mobile device installed on your phone, we have the ability to program that device with locations. So for instance, when you're at your home office and you're connected to your home Wi-Fi, we can tell that that you're at home. The moment that you go to Starbucks drive-through, and we see those voicemail or those Wi-Fi networks there, you could be remote. Or if you go into an office still, when you connect to the corporate Wi-Fi, we can detect that, you're in your corporate office, and we can change a lot of those availability settings accordingly. In addition to that, mobile number protection, because when you're making a call via our mobile clients to an external number, you're still leveraging the XM Connect platform. So when we make a call and we dial outbound, the number that they're actually going to see is going to be programmed by the PBX for the XM Connect platform. It's not going to be the mobile number. And so that's how we offer that mobile number protection. And then, of course, we also have the ability to view the messages on the mobile device itself. Okay, switching gears a little bit. So now we're going to switch over to Microsoft opportunity. So as some of you are aware and have experienced, because you have some of these services available to you, in Exchange Server 2019, Microsoft decided to retire Microsoft's new strategy moving forward has really been that of cloud consumption. They're really transitioning and making a very big pivot to the cloud. So a lot of their on-premise applications have begun to evolve a little bit. And so with Exchange Server 2019, Microsoft really decided that wasn't really required in that, and that they wanted to make that push to cloud voicemail or to Teams. And so that's when they began deprecating some of the features. Well, a lot of our customers, had on-premise PBXs and were using Exchange for their voicemail services, and that left them in a spot where they had to make a couple tough choices. So let's take a look at some of the lost functionality first, then we'll begin to discuss the story and how we solve that problem. So some of the lost functionality, so obviously, as I discussed, no support for third-party PBXs, so including all features provided to third-party PBX, such as MWI. That's obviously the big issue with Exchange. And then, of course, PSTN dial-in access, the play on phone, and the silence detection, all of that lost functionality is really affecting our customers. And so Microsoft has posed their customers with a very specific question. Are you ready to consume 100% from Microsoft's cloud? And if the answer to that question for your organization and your company is no, then it's very possible that you might be in the need to start looking for other solutions. And so that's kind of where we come in. You know, XMedius helps meet your evolving Microsoft needs. We're going to protect that third-party PBX investment. And in addition to that, you know, we're going to deliver the unified messaging into Exchange and Office 365. So a lot of that functionality that they've taken away in Exchange, you know, we're able to mitigate that lost functionality. And we're able to provide companies with a look and feel that is almost exactly the same as what they're used to with their previous Exchange deployment. So let's take a look at Office 365. So if you use or plan to move to Office 365 and you want to keep using your on-premise PBX, whether it's an Avaya, Cisco, NEC, you'll need to find a new offering if you're using that. So XM Connect Unified Messaging, as we've discussed before, you know, we're rated best of breed against all the leading analysis. We also integrate with the leading phone systems, as we discussed. And then we minimize disruption in the continued use of Exchange Outlook forms. And that's a key point right there because, you know, we've worked really close with Microsoft. We're a Microsoft partner. And so when we began to develop our strategy, we looked at how Microsoft was performing that with Outlook forms and, you know, not having to have these additional third-party clients or plugins. And so we really wanted to minimize the disruption to our customers that were switching over from Exchange to our platform. So when we developed our integration into Exchange, whether that's on-premise or in the cloud, we were able to emulate the Outlook forms. And so what that means is when we deposit a voicemail message into Exchange, we actually set all the flags accordingly and appropriately so that our voicemail messages trigger the Outlook forms. So you get that same user experience that you're used to. And I think that's really one of the key pieces here. But in addition to that, we also leverage your existing audio codes gateway. You know, there's no investment required in Skype for Business. We operate completely independently when it's concerning our Exchange integration. And then, of course, we also enable a smooth transition from on-premise third-party PBX to Office 365 over time. So Exchange Server 2019. If you use Exchange Server for connected to an on-premise PBX and plan to upgrade to Exchange Server 2019 in the future, you will need to find a new solution. If you use Skype for Business Server and would like to continue your on-premise, you will need to find a new solution. So this just goes to expand on, you know, what we've talked about previously in these previous slides. You know, if you were leveraging some of these products and moving forward, you're going to have to find a new solution. You know, you could migrate completely to the cloud and consume all the Microsoft products, but a lot of times that's just not feasible for a lot of companies. You know, some of the PBXs that they have on campus can be very extensive, and trying to uplift all of that and send it to the cloud sometimes just is not realistic. So, you know, we deliver capabilities into Exchange Office 365 regardless of the Microsoft roadmap. You know, one of the things that has stood the test of time, especially with email services, there's always going to be some sort of integration. There's always going to be some means to communicate with Microsoft's email services to deposit those messages. And due to our partnership with Microsoft, you know, we keep developing as they release new servers and new softwares. We're right there, right behind them, you know, creating those integrations. So that's how we can, you know, despite Microsoft's roadmap, that's how we continue to deliver those capabilities. And then, of course, with that, we also integrate with all of the PBXs that we talked about. We also offer our secure messaging option, as well as, you know, cost-effective voicemail transcription services that are built in. So the XMedius Alternative. So obviously, we have Office 365 in the cloud. Well, guess what? XM Connect is also in the cloud. If you consume, you know, your email services from the cloud, you can in turn consume our services from the cloud. And then, of course, we're going to perform that integration over to Office 365 as well. And whether it's on-premise, so if you're using Exchange Server on-premise and maybe have a third-party PBX, we can operate on-premise. So, you know, however you'd like to consume us, whatever your model is, you know, we have a model that fits your needs. Some of the advantages of XM Connect. So obviously, you get to continue using Office 365, full unified messaging and call processing support. You can continue using Skype for Business or traditional PBXs. You know, we offer full unified messaging and call processing support for those as well. I hadn't really touched on it too much, but we do integrate for Skype for Business. The key here is that we integrate with an on-premise Skype for Business server or a hybrid deployment. One of the things that we don't integrate with at this moment are cloud PBX, for instance. And then, of course, you benefit from the full range of the XM Connect UC solutions. So whether that's our personal assistant, automated attendants, whether that's our informal call center, IVR, mobile client, etc. So the telephony interoperability, I think, is really huge for a lot of customers. Like I said, some of these PBXs can be sprawling. They can, there's campuses with multiple different sites, and they get very disparate in ways. And so just asking customers to remove that third-party PBX or to move to the cloud, like I said before, is really just not an option for a lot of customers. And so that's where the investment protection comes in. You've spent a lot of money on these phone systems. You don't want to uplift them. We're going to really protect that investment. We're going to make sure that no matter what PBX you're using, that we integrate with, you're going to still have that ability to have the services that you require. And so that's kind of where that investment protection comes in. And then, of course, the bullets here, as I discussed earlier, over 400 different PBX integrations. And like I said, we've never dropped one. We retain all those integrations even up to the latest release. And then, of course, we support all of the common protocols, whether it's SIP, SMDI, digital set emulation, QSIG, CAS, etc. So, and then, of course, with our platform, we can simultaneously support up to 10 PBX types on a single system. Not 10 different integrations or different campus PBXs. We're talking about 10 different types. So we can integrate with a Cisco, and simultaneously we can integrate with an NEC, or we can integrate with a Mitel, and simultaneously we can integrate with an NEC. So no matter what your PBX deployment looks like in your business, we're going to be able to integrate with those multiple different PBXs, bring that together, have one coherent system that offers you all those features that you're looking for. So, and that's also part of that investment protection. As we talked about, email interoperability, the same story with the PBXs, is likewise in email, right? So we're going to integrate Office 365, Exchange on-premise, IBM Notes, Gmail, GroupWise, if anybody uses some of these other ones still. But, I mean, I guess that's the point, right? So, as the product has gone on, we just keep adding to the features. We don't remove, we add to them. Once we've built an integration, we've done it well, we keep that integration. We move forward, we add it to the list. And that's how we help you protect your investment. That's how we deliver some of the best unified messaging on the market, right? So again, the bullets delivers to multiple email stores and clients, rated best of breed solution by leading US UC analysis. So with that, I think we've kind of reached the end of this session. So now let's go ahead and open up for Q&A if anybody has any questions.
Excellent. Yes. Okay. So there is a couple of questions already in. You're welcome to type those into the Q&A box, or if you put them in the chat, I can see those as well. So Terry, the first question, are there limitations to MWI with different email clients?
No. So as long as we integrate to the email server, right, into the email environment itself, we're going to poll that email server to determine whether or not a message has been read or not. And with that, all of our integrations that support MWI are going to light it up regardless of the email server. So the short answer to that would be no.
Okay, good. Thanks. Next question. Can the mobile client be disabled by the admin if a phone is lost or stolen?
Yes, so we actually have the ability to manage devices, right? So when you log into the mobile client at the first time, right, you're going to log in, we're going to exchange some tokens. That device becomes authenticated with the platform itself. And so an administrator can go in, we can take a look at devices. We're going to go down to the mobile phone tab, right? We're going to see that. We're going to see information pertaining to when that phone was last connected to the system, right? So we're going to see if it was an iPhone, we'll see brief description information like it's an iPhone, etc. We can remove that device from from the devices list in the subscriber's mailbox, therefore not allowing that mobile client to work any longer. So the short answer to that one is yes as well.
Okay, sounds good. Next question, if a user deletes a message from his email inbox, is it also deleted in the voicemail box?
That really depends on how you're consuming the product, right, and where your messages are stored. You know, if we are storing those messages on our server themselves, and we're sending a copy of that message to say an email server, if you deleted it on the email server, you're only deleting the copy, and therefore the message would still be retained within our system. If the storage location of those voicemails is the Exchange server, and you go in there and you delete that message, then yes, the message would be deleted, and you would no longer have access to it. So again, it kind of goes back to where you're storing those messages, whether you're using, you know, the server unified messaging or secure unified messaging.
Okay, thanks so much. And it looks like that wraps up the questions that came through. So I'll just give a quick reminder. We will absolutely send you a link to the slides as well as a link to this recording. I'll send a follow-up email within a day or two. And thanks again, Terry, for the presentation. Thanks everyone here for taking the time out of your day to join us. We hope you found the information useful. And again, look for that follow-up email. We'll certainly invite you to future webinars as well that we hope you'll find useful. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the session. And thanks and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.